So just kind of jumping into mini camp, rookie mini camp. Not a ton coming out. I would say maybe the biggest news was the quarterback signing.
Maybe I don't know if I would say the biggest news, but probably the most controversial between all the, yahoos on social media. But the Browns did sign Jacob Sirmon from, oh boy, I don't have it on here. I want to say it's Northern Colorado.
A lot of people are freaking out, and I saw his college stats, and they were not very good.
No, they're not very good. But, I think he's a camp body. And we were talking before the show. I mean, all the reports that I've been reading so far, DTR, not a lock to be cleared for activity, at the start of camp. So you're talking Deshaun Watson, obviously coming off shoulder surgery, which means he's going to be eased into action. They're not going to be overdoing his reps. And then you've got DTR possibly not even ready to go at the start of camp. So you're not going into camp with just two quarterbacks to throw every single rep to all these receivers for the entire training camp. So you got to have an extra arm or two. So
do people not understand that, at the beginning of camp and OTAs, there's 100 guys on the team.
Yeah, isn't it 90? Is it 90 or 91?
I know it's like 90
that.
or slightly north of 90. Yeah. Like, dude, there's 40 guys that are going to be at camp that aren't going to be on the team.
Correct.
Okay. So it's not weird to sign a quarterback. I don't understand why everything has to be controversial with Browns fans. Every other team in the league signs people. The Falcons put a claim in for another quarterback.
Who was it?
I forget. Somebody off the Patriots, I believe. They put a claim in for somebody.
Nathan Rourke or whatever. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Whatever his name. Rourke. Is it
Nathan
Rourke?
Rourke.
Yeah, I did see that.
This is what teams do. You just you sign people because this is how you find a diamond in the rough. We're not expecting I can't remember his name.
Jacob Sirmon.
Jacob Sirmon. We're not expecting. But what if he comes in and he's like awesome?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is how you find people. You scout, you find them, you put them on the team, you give them reps, and then you see what you got. Chances are he's not going to be on the team, but this is how. 30% of the league is undrafted.
Honestly, like you said, 40 of these guys aren't even going to make. They're going to get cut or practice squad.
Yeah.
So maybe we found a practice squad quarterback. Who knows?
Yes.
But that's just. I just don't understand why it's got to be a big deal.
I have an inclination that our practice squad quarterback is going to be DTR.
It seems that way. It definitely seems that way.
How's that work though? When with stuff like that, where they go to the practice squad, can't they be claimed?
I think you can.
There's
protect
certain
one.
protections or
Okay,
something.
yeah,
you can use on.
I'd guess that.
I'd have to rehash the rules on that, but
And then speaking on camp, actually one thing I did read that I wanted to talk about, so I'm glad we decided to do this real quick. I'm gonna read this to you, kind of get your guys' thoughts, because I don't know if you guys saw it. Okay. Bear with me; it's a little long. It's from Mary Kay. One thing is certain about Ken Dorsey is the new Browns offensive coordinator. His fingerprints are all over the new offense, and Kevin Stefanski is letting him coach. Dorsey is implementing the drop back concepts learned in part from his former Bills boss Brian Daboll, which I think a lot of people have kind of forgot that he worked with Daboll, and Daboll is a well-respected, good offensive mind in this league. And the Browns offense will have shades of what Daboll ran in New England and what Daboll and Dorsey ran in Buffalo. It'll feature plenty of RPO and spread concepts and corresponding 3 and 4 receiver sets. It'll also feature the choice routes run by receivers such as Cole Beasley in Buffalo and Julian Edelman in New England. One reason Stefanski is letting Dorsey essentially run the show is because it's very similar to the offense that Deshaun Watson ran in Houston under Bill O'Brien, who learned it in New England. It's a version of the Earhart-Perkins system, and Watson is very familiar with most of the concepts. It's one of the reasons Watson and Dorsey have hit it off so well, because they're speaking the same football language. Stefanski was hands-on during camp as usual, but is clearly letting Dorsey, who will also serve as de facto quarterbacks coach, assume more control of the offense. Will he turn play calling duties over to Dorsey? It remains to be seen, but he's more likely to do so than he was with AVP. With Van Pelt, now Patriots coordinator, as coordinator here from 2020 to 2023, the Browns were still running Stefanski's offense, and it made sense for him to call the plays. But with Dorsey more well-versed in some of the newer concepts, Stefanski might toss him the keys to the car. Again, it's still early, but something he'll at least strongly consider. The end, and that was from Mary Kay.
I actually did read that, yeah.
So I found that I got excited by reading that. You know what I mean? Like, this guy came in. I didn't even put together some of the connections in terms of Daboll and Bill O'Brien and stuff like that. In terms of like lingo and language and the concepts and stuff like that. Like Daboll is a well-respected offensive coach. I mean, look what he got Danny Dimes paid, a guy
Yes,
who
he did. I was going to bring that up, so I'm glad you said that.
You know what I mean? So, and we had already talked about what Dorsey had done with guys like Cam Newton and stuff like that. So the fact that Stefanski is letting him really get in there and kind of drive this thing, I still think Stefanski, I think he'll probably call plays, but depending on how it's going in the offseason and OTAs and camp, like I'm almost, based off reading this, not going to be shocked if Ken Dorsey ends up being the one calling plays. I know a lot of people think Stefanski has this ego and it's got to be his way or the highway. I think Stefanski just wants to win, and I almost think he would welcome getting some of that off of his plate if he trusts somebody who can be better than him. I think the AVP didn't call plays because he knew I'm better at this than AVP.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Ken Dorsey is arguably going to be better at this offensive system calling plays than Kevin Stefanski will be, at least at the beginning. I mean, he's the one essentially designing it.
Yeah, he's putting the layout out.
He's done it before.
Yes. So I'm not going to be 100% shocked if we find out that Ken Dorsey is going to call plays.
2 or 3 months ago, I would have been extremely shocked. Like when this hiring happened, I was like, well, people were discussing it. Like, do you think Kevin Stefanski will ever let him call plays? And I was like, not a chance. Not a chance. You know what I mean? But the more you hear about this, it is crazy. I think there is an opportunity. And like you said, I think it comes down to like winning and being successful and putting people in position to be successful. So if that means that Dorsey's calling plays, I'd still be I wouldn't be shocked, but I still would be a little bit surprised. But it's kind of wild to hear that.
My favorite thing that I heard about it is how different the offense looks. Like we all said, with all these different offensive minds, and Dorsey coming in, like we definitely think the offense is going to be way different when they're trending in this direction. But it's good to see that it's happening.
Right.
You know, it's not just us talking about it and hoping about it and kind of thinking like we think this is going to happen, but we don't know for. They had a camp, and it's very obvious it's different.
Do you remember last year at training camp, how the reports started to come out that we're not seeing any signs of this rumored highly explosive Browns offense or anything like that? There was just nothing. It was like meh. Do you remember those reports?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And we were like, really? Because all the hype was about how this offense was going to change.
Air it out.
Explosion. Yeah, air it out. And then the season hit, and it was like, oh, yeah, okay, it is kind of just, I mean, it's not like it was a bad offense, but it just wasn't what we were being advertised. So to hear that already, the people going to the camp and watching the players and everything are seeing that, okay, this is noticeably different.
Yes, it's good to see because we need it.
Yeah.
We need it. We need it very badly. So I'm excited for that. I know I did see Jamari Thrash had, I think, a good camp from what I could tell, showed off the route running ability, all that good stuff. Michael Hall is a freak athlete. They're saying he is built and athletic enough, like he's going to get edge reps.
I think he will. I really do.
So I think Jim Schwartz is probably kind of like salivating at the thought of what he can do with this guy in terms of his versatility on the defensive line. Like he can play multiple positions. So I'm excited for that. So I'm excited just to kind of like, let's get going now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, let's get to the real stuff.
For me, it was cool. I was just happy to see Browns players on the field in Browns gear. The new white face mask looked nice. And
the helmets too.
The helmets look sweet. I mean, it's just good. It's just a good feeling to see these guys back out on the field. Zach Zinner was another one.
That was a big one for me.
I mean, and they were talking like he looks good. You know, it's the first time he's been on a football field running drills, running reps since he broke his leg against Ohio State. So it's just good to see all of that.
So one of the guys in the Discord was talking about how like he wasn't gonna be able to play this year, and this was like from what I can tell and what I've heard, like he can play football this year.
Well, I think he's.
So it sounds like,
you know what I mean? Like
he's out there.
You know what I mean? Like maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't heard anything like that. He's sidelined for a year based on his injury. He seems A-okay to
running
me.
drills.
Yeah,
you know.
So that's good. I mean, that's a late first round, early second round talent that we got late.
if there was questions about his availability for September, they would not already have him out there in May.
Correct. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's obviously okay.
Yeah. And I feel like we took him in the 3rd.
Yep.
We would have taken him in the 6th if you know what I mean? Like if there's that much concern about his recovery from the injury, the round 3 pick is still pretty valuable.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I don't think the Browns would have taken somebody that early if there's tons and tons of concern about his availability and his recovery from the injury.